Report of Manning, South Carolina. Thanking everyone again for tuning in to this installment of the 19 Report. As promised, we would come back to you with part two of causing cancer. Today we're going to talk about colognes and hair glue and the different chemicals in the products that we use every day. I have some products that I will be displaying today and some alternative products that I will display today. I don't like to too much show the alternative products unless it's in a live setting because I don't want things to change. So today is causing cancer part two. Menstruation is an uncomfortable topic made worse when many of the products women must use contain known cancer-causing carcinogens. It's time for the real truth. So we're going to go right into that because I have so much to cover today. Again, first, I'm going to get back on my soapbox because I always like to get on the soapbox and go into biblical scripture because a lot of people don't like to talk about Bible or religion anymore. But when a people have been enslaved and captured into a poisonous thing, if you're bitten by a poisonous snake, you don't give penicillin to a person bitten by a poisonous snake. You look for the anti-venom, which comes from that particular snake, that particular poisonous spider or whatever, scorpion. You take the anti-venom from the actual thing that bit you. So we're taking the anti-venom from the book that people dislike now, and they dislike it because of all of the corruption in it. But we're taking the anti-venom from the source of the venom. So I want to go into biblical scripture before we even start today. As the Minister of Information, Jamil Salib Zamir, and I want you to be patient with me today if you can. We are broadcasting live on Facebook right now. We will be broadcasting on YouTube later on. And we are also on Instagram. The thing about Instagram is it doesn't hold the video, but I want to run the video and see if anyone will pick up on the video. So we're on Instagram. The information will also be available on our personal website at the 19 Report. If you would like to link up with us, you can link up with us and like our page at Facebook at the 19 Network and YouTube at the 19 Report, as well as we're on Instagram as / Brother Johnny. Now let's get into Hosea 6 and 7 of the King James Version of the Bible. It says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of my God, I will also forget thy children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame." So we have a group of people now calling themselves the millennials. Very wise group of people, young people, very trying to educate themselves, independent, business-wise. But the scripture is warning, because our sins have increased, God says that he will change our glory into shame. Now, you can't get your glory changed to shame if you don't have any glory. So you have to have glory and success and benefit before all of that can turn to shame. I'm saying that for a reason. I'm saying that to the younger people because you have developed the idea, the mindset that the older people can't tell you anything. And all of my children developed that mindset. And they wanted to do things their way. That's fine. But there's some obstacles hurdles we can not have to jump if we'll pay attention to the wisdom of the elders. I'm not talking about stupidity. I'm talking about wisdom. Now, on last week, we talked about plastics and the different ratings of plastic items and containers. Even BPA-free containers can release harmful chemicals into the food and liquid that they're stored in. Heating plastic is definitely a no-no. Heating plastic causes all of the chemicals from the plastic to be meshed into whatever food you're eating. So heating the plastic containers increase that risk. Most plastics release a hormone similar to estrogen. If you're not familiar with estrogen, on last week we talked about those things, but early signs of too much estrogen are mood swings, anxiety, depression, insomnia, bloating, weight gain, hair loss, fatigue, irregular menstrual cycles, decreased sex drive, and tender breasts. All of these are early signs that we are taking on too much estrogen in our bodies. And with men, even myself, we start to grow breast because of the estrogen intake, because of the soybean intake. Eating soybean is a no-no. Soybean creates estrogen in the body. It turns males into females. And they projected that idea of soy being better than meats. But soy is 10 times worse than meat. So says the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I believe them, and that's why I repeat them now. I'm going to get on my soapbox early because the future of our children, mental state depends upon it. The zombies that we are fascinated with in the future is the future of our children. I'm going to say that again. The zombies that we love to play in video games and watch on television and watch all these zombie movies, the very first one was The Night of the Living Dead. But the zombies that we are fascinated with is the future of our children, The Walking Dead. It's not the skin peeling off and the hideous features that we can see, but the zombie is the internal unconsciousness that derives from desensitization from reality and the introduction of a new normal. Now, first you destroy a person's ability to know right from wrong. Then you tell them what's right and what's wrong. By then, their defenses are so weak, they go with what looks, tastes, and feel good. Now, if you have not listened to part 1 of Causing Cancer, please go to our website at the 19 Network on Facebook, or you can go to YouTube at the 19 Report and listen and watch the episode commentary of Causing Cancer Part 1. Today, we're going into a very, very serious subject about women in particular, men, and children. Now, long-term use of toxic chemicals on our bodies has caused considerable and even permanent damage to our endocrine system. Now, for those who may not have seen on last week, we talked about the endocrine system and the different parts of the endocrine system. I want to get that up real quick, if I can, because I want to go over these points where the endocrine system consists of the brain, consists of all of the sensitive parts of the body, including the testicles and the ovaries, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, the pineal gland, and also in the throat. All of these consist of the endocrine system. And the endocrine system is being disrupted by all of these chemicals, but it is not a quick happening disruption. It is a disruption that happens over time so slowly that we don't even know it's happening. And when someone tells you that it's happening, we don't believe it's happening because we don't see the results right away. So the endocrine system, from cancer to dementia and fibroid tumors and respiratory issues, early menstrual cycles in little girls, and early puberty in boys, the chemicals that we apply to our skin are definitely a contributing factor in our current and our future health situation. How many loved ones have succumbed to an untimely death due to prolonged use of toxic chemicals on our bodies, in the air, in our foods? How many are unable to hold the fetus in their womb to full term? How many mental issues, nerve issues may have been avoided had we been told and heeded the warning signs of chemical poisoning? Now, chemical poisoning is something that happens over a long period of time. And what happens with us is that we are not, we're sprint runners. It has to happen immediately. If we go on a diet, it has to be a 3-day diet where we just lose the weight for a minute, gain it back. But we don't want to go on that long journey that it takes in order for us to understand how eating affects our body, understand how these chemicals affect our body, and do what is necessary to change the effects of the chemicals by eliminating them from our everyday use. Now, today, we're on part 2 of Causing Cancer, and our focus for this commentary will be primarily feminine hygiene products. We're talking about colognes and perfumes, deodorants, panty liners, soaps, body washes, and tampons. Now, we're asking mothers and fathers to consider the fact that child neglect is a crime. And what's more criminal is the ignorance of how we are neglecting our duty to protect our children. We're neglecting our duty to protect our children from an early death. We tell them, don't join gangs, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, don't do drugs, all in an attempt to raise a fairly decent child and give them a chance at life. Yet we are the first ones to voluntarily get them hooked on mind-altering substances that attack their physical, mental, and spiritual self. Little girls growing adult breasts at the age of 8 and 9, increasing their chances of developing breast cancer. Little boys' penises growing the size of an adult male at the age of 8 and 9, increasing their potentials for testicular cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer. Their bodies unable to defend itself against the chemicals, the dyes, the perfumes, and feminine products that they now must use because the body has developed an addiction to the chemicals, and the chemicals are disrupting their natural growth cycles. So now they have adult feelings in a child's body and with a child's mind. We're talking about causing cancer part 2, and we talked on last week about the containers that we drink out of, the plastics. This week we're talking about the chemicals that we put on our skin and what it's doing to our body. Now, scientific research and fact-finding groups have determined that the average woman wears 515 different chemicals on her body at one time. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to let it sink in for a minute. Then I'm going to say it again. I wanted to get this picture to show you. Scientific research and fact-finding groups have determined that the average woman wears nearly 515 chemicals on her body on an average day. And if she's wearing it, her children, her co-workers, her significant others are all inhaling or absorbing the chemicals that she's wearing. From lipstick to perfumes, we live in a deadly and poisonous era, specifically designed to target and kill as much and at such a slow pace that we, the victims, aren't even aware that we've been poisoned. That's what I was talking about earlier. It is a slow process, and the process is so slow. It starts off with these symptoms that I'm going to read about in a minute. It starts out with these issues that I'm going to read about in a minute. It starts out with these problems that we can't pinpoint, but it is due to the chemical intake from the stuff that we wear, the stuff that we eat, and the stuff that we inhale. So we, the victims, aren't even aware that we've been poisoned. We die happy in a state of hypernormalization. Look that up. Is a documentary entitled Hypernormalization. But hypernormalization is believing that all of the lies we were told are true until we realize that the lies were actually lies. And once we realize that the lies were lies, we are in such shock, we don't know any other alternative of life but to stay in the lie. Now, my job, Brother Jamil, is to identify and point out the lies clearly. I am the minister of information, and I share that information gladly. And I spend time by God's permission because he spent time with me. I spend time talking about these issues that we suffer from and these problems that we can do something about so that God can help us be victorious over Satan's ability to cause us to think that everything he offers us is good for us. Now, this world is set up for us to believe in it. No doubt about it. It is such a crafty place. This world is set up for us to believe in it until we can't do without it. So everything that God has been telling me to tell you for the past 19 to 21 years, I didn't start out doing this on the internet because there wasn't high-speed internet when I started. So we did newsletters and we did church meetings and we did study group meetings, and I want so bad to get back into that because that was the way to go when it comes to talking one-on-one with people. So anyone that has space for this type of introduction of commentary into your Bible studies, into your Sunday sermons, into anything, any type of event that you're having, give me a call. Jamil Salib Zamir. You can look me up on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as on YouTube, The 19 Report. Now, for the past 19 to 21 years, we summed it up. I've been talking about this type of thing for that long. Not just me, but there are many people doing it and doing it to a more extensive level than I am. And this is just me passing the baton a little further up the ladder so that you can get more and more information. I'm not saying that I'm the only one talking about it. I'm saying that here in South Carolina, this is my mission by God's permission. So we're talking about cancer-causing agents. And hold on for a little while because we have to go through certain, you can't just throw it out there and leave it. Now, God has been telling me to tell us this for 19 to 21 years, and I've been talking to myself as I've been talking. But the more I talk, we sum it all up in one phrase. And I've heard it over and over again. It might be true, but we can't do anything about it. So why worry about it? Everybody got to die from something. And my response to that is that that's true. But our people are the only ones dying from voluntary ignorance. And ignorance is a divine curse inflicted upon those who refuse to hear the truth. Now, I read earlier in Hosea, my people are dying for lack of knowledge because you refuse to listen to knowledge. God says that he will forget about our children. And that's where we are today. We are in a state of this world making us think that we are in heaven because of the material gains, but we are being separated from God because of our spiritual disconnection and our desire to be ignorant. So the scripture even goes on to say that God will feed us delusions because we desire them so much. Now, it can be difficult to recognize most of the ingredients listed in many of our personal hygiene products. For example, hairspray and nail polish usually contain phthalates. And I want to try and get that up if I can before I go on because I just absolutely love the visuals. Yes. Okay, let's open this up a little bit. And let's go here. Okay. Hairspray and nail polish usually contain phthalates, which is linked to shortened attention span, sounds familiar, in our children, and impaired social interaction in children. Shortened attention span and the inability to make friends and keep friends in children. Toothpaste often contains fluoride, a neurotoxin, and shampoos and other children body products may contain sodium lauryl sulfate. Harsh chemicals and allergy triggers. Now, dioxins, known as animal carcinogens, formaldehyde, neurotoxins, and developmental toxins, and perhaps the worst of them all are fragrances and parfums, which is a potential mixture of over 3,000 plus harsh chemicals that aren't legally required to be disclosed. In other words, the chemicals that are being introduced to our children and to women, where we put in private areas of our body, sensitive areas of our body, they don't even have to tell you what these chemicals are because they couldn't list all of the chemicals on the back of the product. So they list nearly 3,000 plus chemicals, harsh chemicals, as fragrances or parfums. These are the chemicals that are causing mental issues in our children. These are the chemicals that are causing issues and fibroid tumors, that fibroids that are so big in the woman that she can't pass them, and she's in so much excruciating pain from her abdomen down to her vaginal area that you end up getting gutted out Everything is taken away, your ovaries, everything just gone. Your uterus, the doctor just pulls it out. And you're happy that it's gone because of the pain that it causes. But what if it could have been avoided? Women, before you go out at night, before you meet your man in the bedroom, you're spraying colognes between your legs so it'll smell good. But between your buttocks, the crack of your behind, you're spraying colognes. We spray the colognes in our endocrine system, in the lymph nodes and behind the ears and under the armpits. These are the things that are causing considerable long-term damage to you and to us and our children because we are now overloading them with chemicals that their small bodies cannot handle. Now, your doctor is not going to tell you these things, but I hope that you will take the time to do a little research about what I'm saying today. And what you find, I pray that you will share. This is not a big I, little you. I know more than you know. All of this information is available on the internet, in magazines, in your library. Now, natural news. Listen to this. A woman's advocacy group fighting to eliminate toxic chemicals from consumer products and the environment has published a new report highlighting the dangers associated with many feminine hygiene and personal care products. The title of this research pamphlet is called Kim Fatale. Kim Fatale. Now, I am going to post this up on our website for you to download. You can download it for free. It is called Kim Fatale. It is a PDF file, and it is one of the most well put together chemical lists and where they're found and what products and what harm that it does. Another book that I would suggest you read is a book by Dr. Whitaker. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, my goodness. When I remember it, I'll post it up on the website. Now, the paper by Women's Voice for Earth, or WVE, addresses the many toxic chemicals still being used in feminine products like tampons and deodorants, which exposes women to a don't of chemicals linked to endocrine disruptions, reproductive problems, and cancer. Why aren't we familiar with this? Why don't we know about these things? We don't know about them because we trust the people that give us information. We just trust them. And we don't question. But God is saying today we have to question. We can't even just put our faith in God alone, because faith without works is dead. So we have to put our faith in God, and whatever name you call him, and then we have to go to work. Now, I want to read this real quick. Toxic chemicals don't belong in feminine care products. Unregulated chemicals of concern in feminine care products are linked to increased risk of breast cancer, reproductive problems, asthma. Many of us now are suffering from bronchitis and asthma and respiratory problems we never had before. Allergies to peanuts and all types of things. We never had these things. Allergic reactions and more. And on this picture, you see the tampons that you slide into your vagina and the ones that you just like a panty liner. Now, I want you to, if for any of you that know about construction, I want you to picture installation, the Pink Panther installation. And that thing has fiberglass in it. When you handle it with gloves, and you make sure your body is taped up real good. It's a very dangerous thing. That's literally the same type of material that's used in tampons and panty liners. Those fiberglass, little minute fiberglass particles, when you slide that tampon into your vagina and the sensitivity of the walls of the vagina, they are actually penetrating, causing rips and tears in the vagina and allowing those chemicals to soak into the body. Likewise with panty liners. Now, of particular concern to the group are tampons and feminine pads, both of which are currently regulated as medical devices. Tampons and feminine pads are regulated as medical devices because they are being inserted into areas that are sensitive and areas that are bleeding. Anytime a person comes into the ER with a wound, first thing they do is they give them a tetanus shot, and then they use peroxide and other disinfectants to clean the wound. What are you using to clean your womb after using tampons? If it is a douche, that's 10 times worse. Now, since these two products classes are not considered under the law to be cosmetic in nature, they're not considered to be cosmetic because they're medical devices. Manufacturers are not required to disclose their ingredients on the packaging. So with most feminine products, you don't even see a list of ingredients because they don't have to. They don't have to put the list of ingredients on it. But the list of ingredients are what are killing us. Now, I want to repeat this. Unfortunately, that thing that we call fragrance, or that thing that is listed on many of the items that I have to my left, to my right, your left, my right, which I'll be showing at the end of this, that thing listed as fragrance is a mixture of ingredients that can include any of over 3,000 different chemicals. According to a master list of fragrance chemicals made available by the International Fragrance Association, fragrances can include chemicals which are carcinogens, irritants, allergens, and potential endocrine disruptors. Now, I don't want to go through this whole list because it is just too much to go through. But I want to show you this list. I want to show you this first. We're gonna do this first. This is relating to tampons, and all of this information you can find on the internet. Tampons, what do they contain? They contain pesticides because they're made out of cotton, and the cotton is cleaned with chlorine bleach and is sprayed with pesticides that are killing the bees. They're filled with dioxins, cancer-causing agents, genetically modified chemicals. Now, women's vaginas hanging down like a man's penis. You look at a woman and you think she a man because her vagina lips are so wide, so thick, just abnormal. And fragrances, which consist of more than 3,000 different chemicals, which are carcinogens, irritants, allergens, and potential endocrine disruptors. Are you using hair glue in your hair? I want to show you this. I was looking through some articles, and I'm not going to go through because it was so many of them, but I just want to go show you a few of them. This one, the headlines on this one says, beauty products marketed to black women may contain more hazardous chemicals than the beauty products marketed to white women. That's one of them. Now, I want you to imagine your 6-7-year-old child, you're putting hair glue in their hair extensions in their hair, eyelashes, eyeliner, fingernail polish, colognes, powders, perfumes, and before they turn 9 or 10 years old, they got behavior problems, they got tumors growing all throughout of their bodies, all because the market says that these are good for you and my child. And they're selling them dolls with makeup on that makes them want to be like what they see. Now, are you using hair glue? Are you adding extensions in your children's hair? What about fingernail polish, lipstick, eyeliner, body sprays? If so, then we have to ask God for forgiveness for the abuse, and as of this moment, make an honest attempt to do better. Do you use fabric softeners? Do you wash dishes with liquid, dishwashing liquid like Dawn or Palmolive without using gloves? If so, chemicals are being absorbed through our pores. Do you use regular toothpaste? Have you noticed the poison warning on the back of the toothpaste? The poison warning on the back of the toothpaste says, if swallowed, contact the Poison Control Center for further instructions. Toothpaste contains fluoride, which is a neurotoxin. Toothpaste is a poison that damages the mental state of anyone that uses it. Now, this is Pronamel. This is Sensodyne. I use this. But I knew this stuff almost 10 to 15 years ago, and I've said it on many reports and written it on many papers, but nobody cares. Nobody cares about what's happening to their personal self. They care about what's happening to their car. They care about what's happening to their clothes. They care about what job they have, what house they live in, but very little about what is happening to ourselves. Now, what is your child doing in the bathroom with the door closed? Probably eating tubes of toothpaste like I did when I was a child. We love the taste of it. It's almost like eating candy. My brother and I ate Tussie deodorant too. My brother died before he was 50 years old. He suffered from substance abuse, kidney failure. He lost his sight. He went bald. He and I both suffered from exaggerated mental issues. And by that, I mean that we're more like paranoid and anxious, unable to control our anger. That's why I don't deal with people who get me angry, because my anger goes and I black out, and before I wake up, something done happened. And the person causing the trouble don't realize that my anger goes. So I found myself leaving many people in situations alone, because people will test you. In their mind, they got you. They can beat you. They can win. But in my mind, I never knew anybody that could beat me, because when I get angry, I just. Not saying I can't be beat. I have been beaten, but I just don't know no one that can do it. The anger issues, all of which are related to the mind and the endocrine system, poison from an early age. I wouldn't wish my mental state and all of the hard work that I have to do to stay sane, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. God saved me by showing me the chemicals that we were taking into our bodies and what it was doing to us. And I can bear witness to the fact that these chemicals cause issues. I can bear witness to the fact that Claritin and Zyrtec cause emotional mood swings that could go from one side to depression and thoughts of suicide to extreme uncontrollable anger. I can bear witness to that. God made me sensitive to medication, made me sensitive to women. And since I can smell when a woman is excited, when she's sexually in her peak, I can smell when a woman is pregnant. I can. But now, because of all of these chemicals, it's more difficult. Now, I want you to listen to these ingredients and their side effects. Then I'm going to tell you where these ingredients are found. I want to read them first. Fragrances, perfumes. It's scientifically confirmed to raise the risk of skin sensitivity, as it irritates the skin and is a leading cause of dermatitis from cosmetic use. Now, dermatitis. You ever seen women walking around patting their head because it's itching from their hair glue, and they're getting the patches from the weave, scratching and the weaves, the hair glue, the dyes, and now fake eyelashes are causing eye irritations? My sister suffered from eye irritations because of eyelashes and I believe other chemicals, but she's back to where she almost went blind almost, but she's back to the eyelashes again. She's still having cloudy, foggy memory due to the chemical intake, but when you talk to people, it's very difficult to get them to listen to you because you're not the person they want to hear it from. So I have an associate of mine who people love, and I'm always trying to convince him, you tell him. You tell them, I'll find the information and you tell them, because if you told them, they would listen. And the main thing is for them to listen. He took the offer one time and then he didn't. I don't think he'll ever take it again, but I wish he would, because people like him. He's likable. You think I'm trying to prove that I'm more intelligent because I got glasses on and I'm talking a certain way, but I'm practicing my diction. I'm trying to deliver a message, but you're taking it offensively rather than to take the information and use it. Whereas if a Caucasian call you nigger and you work for him, I'm going to let that slide. I can't even pronounce some of these names. Methylazolinone. This chemical, you'll find it on the back of most of the chemicals, most of your products. This chemical has been found to lead to neurodegenerative disorder and seizures. Hands are trembling. I told my sister probably 6-7 years ago, I was sitting behind her in church one day. I said, you don't notice that your head is constantly shaking left and right? She just told me the other day, I remember when you told me that. Chemicals, neurodegenerative disorder, and seizures. Sodium tallowate. Sodium tallowate is derived from the fatty tissues of cattle. So any vegan who says they're vegan should avoid these items. Now, sodium lauryl sulfate. More than 16,000 studies have been evaluating the cumulative effects and long-term exposures of SLS and have found that it is related to developmental reproductive toxicity, meaning those people who are trying to have children. These chemicals, irritating of the skin and eyes, possible mutation and cancer, organ toxicity, neurotoxicity, endocrine disruption, exotoxicology, and biochemical or cellular changes. All of these are derivatives of sodium lauryl sulfate. I'm reading out chemicals, and then I'm getting ready to tell you where these chemicals are found. Now, tetrasodium edit is a product derived from formaldehyde, which is a well-known carcinogen. It is a penetrating enhancer, so it dissolves the protective skin barrier, opening the way for other toxins to enter the tissues and the bloodstream. All of these chemicals are found in soaps. All of these chemicals are found in different soaps. Body washes, from Dove to Irish Spring. I found it in Irish Spring. I didn't look through all of them, but I also found it in Dove body wash. And these are expensive items. We bought these things think that we were getting top of the line stuff. Purely pampering, nourishing body wash. Those chemicals that I just read are in these. Also in this cocoa butter. Expensive top of the line things that I thought I was purchasing for bettering my own self. Toxic. Also in A&D ointment. Now, a child's body is not able to handle the intake of these items and don't have the ability to fight them off, but we're putting them around their vagina, their penis, and it's absorbing into their endocrine system and causing mental issues, neurotoxicity, possible mutations and cancer. All of these items, after shaving and your pores are open, thinking that we're doing the right thing, Aveeno, those chemicals are in these. Natural hair cleansing cream shampoo, Cantu with shea butter. So I'm thinking, hey, man, I'm going back to Africa. So many chemicals, you can barely read all of them. Those cancer-causing agents are in those chemicals. Peel off face mask, thinking that you're doing your skin some good. And a little bit at a time, we are destroying and damaging ourselves. That's just a little bit of them. I didn't want to go too deep into the items because these aren't all the items that I've used. These aren't all the items that I've used. Now, I want to point this out to you. Something that we learned years ago, probably 10 to 15 years ago, about roll-on deodorant. I don't have any here with me, but your Secret and your all of these different roll-on deodorants, anything that is an antiperspirant, contains parabens, which equals to cancer. Now, research suggests that breast cancer usually develops in the upper outer quadrants of the breast. That area happens to be the closest to the lymph nodes, which is a part of the endocrine system exposed to antiperspirants. Now, parabens are chemicals used as preservatives in antiperspirants, cosmetics, and sunscreens. 99% of breast cancer tissues had traces of parabens. I'm going to say that again. 99% of breast cancer tissue tested from people with breast cancer had traces of parabens. Let's move on. I didn't want to go over an hour, but we may go over an hour, and I don't know if Facebook Live allows more than an hour, so I will have to see. And I don't even know if the broadcast is going through because I don't see it, but I had it set to go through. So if it is not, be on the lookout for us to re-upload the broadcast again, and we will be broadcasting live on YouTube as well. We are talking about Causing Cancer Part 2, and we are focusing on tampons and colognes and products used by women and children. Now, let's go into perfume, colognes, and lotions. I showed you some of the perfumes, colognes, and lotions a few minutes ago on the table to my right and your left. The idea of natural beauty seems like a good one, but changing your trusted moisturizers to an organic option isn't always as simple as switching out toxic products for an organic product. But most of the products we think are natural are really just as toxic as the others. As I showed you last week, organic items inside of toxic containers. And I want to say this to the people that listen. You're not going to be able, don't become fanatical about what I'm telling you. You're not going to be able to eliminate all of these things out of your everyday life. But we can do some things to help us eliminate these harmful chemicals from our body a little at a time. And then we can gradually wane our way off of some of these things and never use them again. And as we do this and take them out of our homes, they're out of the sight of our children, and our children become used to the things that we use, which are better for them. And that creates a whole new world over time. Over time, it creates a whole nother generation of children. It didn't happen overnight that our children, everybody thinking they're homosexual. It didn't happen overnight that our children have mental issues. It didn't happen overnight that our children are suffering from ADD, ADHD. This was a long-term plan by Satan to destroy a race of people. It's working, and we have to do something about it. So those of us who know better have to begin to do better and set the example of what it's like to do better. Now, parabens, preservatives found in sunscreen, lotions, and more, sulfates, detergents found in cleaners like soaps and bath gels, and phthalates, chemicals found in fragrances and plastics, have had multiple studies that link their use to an increased risk for cancer. Parabens are used in health and beauty products as a preservative to extend the shelf life of the product. So most of the products that you see on the shelf that have been leave the factory, are shipped in the trucks and other transportation for days, goes to the warehouse, sit up in the steaming hot warehouse for months, come and sit on the shelf for months. They put in these chemicals so that these products can last longer on the shelf. What we're looking for are items that are made immediately without the chemicals that we can use that are not harmful. Now, I went to a health food store, and I got a juice shot. That shot was in like a cup, and they grind all the juices out right there on the spot. I drank it. It was very effective. We bought some juice shots in the big bottles. Come to find out that the bottles were made out of were put into poisonous containers. And also to find out that anytime you juice something, if you don't use it within a certain amount of days of it being juiced, it's no good anyway. I think it's 3 days. So these parabens are used as preservatives. Parabens, however, are synthetic and mimic your body's natural hormones. They are known endocrine disruptors that have been linked to increased risks of cancer, early breast development in girls, and reproductive birth defects in males and females. Parabens can cause free radical damage, and sulfates may irritate your skin or cause an allergic reaction as well. Now, we should be so angry about what has been given to us as good. See, when you get angry, anger creates an emotion. Emotion creates a desire, and desire brings about change, whether it's good or bad. See, most people want to say they don't hate nobody. See, that's foolishness. God hates. And if you go to our website at the 19 Report, I did a commentary on the things that God hates. Right in the Bible, I think it's 8 things that God hates. So how can man claim he don't hate nothing, he love everybody, but then say he worship a God, but the God hates things? We should hate what has happened to us. We should hate what this world has introduced to us and turned us away from our natural self into this synthetic thing that's not even real, that we will accept Nicki Minaj's fake butt. We will accept the plastic surgeries and the lips and all of these breast enhancements. We accept these things as real because we have been indoctrinated into a plastic world by Satan. We're talking about causing cancer. Now, if that's not enough to cause concern, the term fragrance was created to protect the company's secret formula, like 11 herbs and spices. What the hell is that? What is in it? Did you know they are using beaver anal gel, the anal gel from out of a beaver, as a seasoning? And that is like a special seasoning that you don't know the name of. It's just a secret formula. So all us eating ass. I hate to put it like that, but it's there as a secret formula. But you could be putting on a concoction that contains tons of chemicals that are hazardous to your health without even knowing it. According to the Environmental Working Group, that's the EWG, Skin Deep Database, fragrance mixes have been associated with allergies, dermatitis, respiratory distress, and potential effects on the reproductive system. It can be found in many products such as perfumes, colognes, conditioners, shampoos, body washes, and moisturizers. Now I want to get to the subject that we came to talk about, and that is tampons, and then we're going to close. Could your pad or tampon be harming you? How can a clean white pad or tampon cause damage? Consider whether or not that tampon, trying to find a picture. Consider whether or not that tampon is made with organic cotton. If not, chances are they are made with GMO cottons treated with crop pesticides. It is a fact that 94% of the cotton grown in the United States is genetically modified. It is an odor neutralizing product or contains any sort of fragrance. If it is an odor neutralizing product or contain any sort of fragrance, it contains a chemical soup of contaminants that can potentially cause infertility. How many of you women out there can't hold a baby in your womb? Neurological defects. How many of us hands are shaking so bad you can't focus, having brain fog, having what they call, what do they call it? Where all of your nerves are so bad that you're constantly having issues. I can't remember the name of it. Hormone dysfunctions and cancer. Now, the average woman will use between 16,000 and 24,000 tampons in her lifetime, depending upon on how long her menstrual cycle remains. The average woman will be using over 24,000 tampons. Without the ability to rid these toxins absorbed topically, they accumulate over a lifetime. Now, we talked about this lifetime accumulation of things. I just put up a picture of a tampon, and I want to read, secret toxic chemicals in tampons. Dioxins is a furans from chlorine bleach, pesticide residues, unknown fragrance and chemicals. Exposure concerns, cancer, reproductive harm, hormone disruption, and allergy rashes. All of these from using tampons. All of these from using chemicals that we aren't even aware are affecting us in the way that they are. Now, I want to show you a graft real quick if I can. I knew this was going to take a little longer today, and I apologize, but we really are almost finished. I want to show you this graph of tampon use. 50 to 86% of women use tampons. 75% of women use panty liners. 62 to 73% of women use pads. 4 to 39% use sprays. 15 to 32% use douches, and 23% use the anti-itching creams. 10 to 15% use the wipes, and 4% use the powders. Now, I want you to look at this from an ethnical point of view. The blue being black women, the orange being Latino women, and the pinkish color or purple, lavender, or whatever being white women. Percentage of women using feminine hygiene products by race and ethnicity. Out of douches, 35 to 58% of black women are using those, the highest percentage. Out of wipes, 16% of black women are using those. Out of sprays, look at this, because you're always spraying around your vagina area, 16%, the highest percentage, are using the sprays, and out of the powders, 12%, again, the highest percent, are using the powders. Now, a report came out, and I just had it up here, and I want to put it back really quickly. And it was asking the question about black women. Well, it wasn't asking the question. It was really it was telling something. And it said, beauty products marketed to black women may contain more hazardous chemicals. Now, let me ask you something. We always go into the Indian store to buy their hair, their glues, and their other products. Do you ever see the Indian women wearing this stuff? They have their natural hair. Most of them just squat over a pan and wash out their vagina. They don't do the things that they sell you, because we are always the ones buying death and happy that we're dying. We got to do better. Now, fibroid cancer and even staph infections. Tampons can also create an ideal environment for bacteria to develop and thrive. How many of you have gone to the hospital, the doctor said you have a staph infection or you have a strep infection, and it's coming from you drinking sodas or whatever, but they never tell you that it may be because of the tampons. Now, tampons can also create an ideal environment for bacteria to develop and thrive. The walls of the vagina are so thin and delicate that regular use of feminine hygiene products can cause micro tears. This presents a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. Toxic shock syndrome, or TSS, is a potentially life-threatening condition caused by either a strep or staph infection resulting from tampon use. These issues are coming from our women being targeted with chemically infested tampons. I want to get this up real quick, and I want to have it up already so we can see it. I'm not going to get into it right this minute. Now, do you wonder why feminine hygiene products are so bright white? In order to get that pure white look, manufacturers use chlorine bleach. Now, would you fill a douche container with chlorine bleach and squirt it inside of your vagina? Would you take chlorine bleach and squirt it under your arm, in your lymph nodes, or around your vagina? That's what you're doing. In order to get that pure white look, manufacturers use chlorine bleach. A byproduct that forms from this bleach process is dioxin. The Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, recognizes dioxin as a serious threat to public health and determines that there is no safe level of exposure to dioxin. No safe level of exposure to dioxin. That's what the EPA says. However, the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, states that there is no discernible threat to the health of tampon or pad users from these dioxins, as they are below detectable limits. They believe that the trace amounts of dioxins are acceptable and safe to human use. Now, we just talked about how these items cause issues over time. However, the Food and Drug Administration states that there is no discernible threat to the health of tampon or pad users from the dioxins, as they are below detectable limits. My broadcast has ended on Instagram, but we're still going live on Facebook at the 19 Network, and we will be going live on YouTube as well. Now, there are no discernible threats to the health of tampons. That the FDA says that there are no threats to the body for that. The EPA says not even a little bit is safe, but the FDA says it is. So what do we see on the products that we make that make us feel comfortable when we buy it? We usually see the stamp of the FDA approval. But what does that really mean? If you use a product on your skin as much as 24,000 times during your life, is that not considered a trace amount from the perspective of long-term considerable health use? If you and I are using these items all day, every day, isn't that considered to be a danger? Because the body is absorbing these toxins. Now we are coming to a close. In closing, there are alternative feminine hygiene products to consider. And they can lessen our exposure to the materials contained in various feminine hygiene products and nursing pads. Now, organic cotton tampons. These products must pass an absorbance test, so you are not likely to find any reduction in the quality of the organic tampons. But they are better because they don't have the chemicals in them. You have to go to your health food store to find that. Same with organic sanitary pads. Go to your health food store, ask your health store and ask if they have these items, and if they do, read the label and find out if they're good for you, but they are a greater alternative to what we're purchasing from out of the stores. Now, for babies, please consider using cloth diapers due to the chemicals in regular diapers, and the pad of the regular diaper is the same type of material used in tampons, bleached microfibers that go into, you see our children with all of these skin rashes and skin irritations, and we think it's because of we left them in a wet diaper, but it's bigger than that. Did you ever stop to think about diaper rash and other infections our children have? Chemical poisoning. Even the AD ointment contains fragrances as an ingredient. I just showed you that. Every eye drops are very chemically laced and poisonous. I wanted to put that in there, that eye drops are chemically laced and poisonous. Underarm deodorants are called antiperspirants because they stop your body from naturally releasing poisons out of your endocrine system. These poisons accumulate in the breast from under the arm, causing breast cancer, causing ovarian cancer, causing colorectal cancer, and other issues. Whether you choose organic, disposable products, or make your own, there are alternatives to feminine hygiene products, mass-produced with chemicals and plastics. Now, here's a suggestion. On weekends and days off and times you're at home relaxing, try not to wear any colognes, any body sprays, any makeup, any hair or feminine products. Let your body breathe. Detoxify it as much as possible by taking a brisk walk around the yard or around the neighborhood in a sauna suit. You can find the sauna suits anywhere just about. Now, a word of caution, the sauna suits are made out of nylon, and I haven't done much research on that material yet. But in this case, the good outweighs the bad, because when you have on a sauna suit, you're sweating like you're in a sauna, and you're sweating out the impurities in your body. Now, I used to have lumps under my arm, and God said I saw the sauna suit and it made sense. Well, I used to wrap myself in in plastic wrap, but when I saw the sauna suit, I think my wife bought the sauna suit first. They were gray. The sauna suit caused me to sweat. So when I was on the exercise bike sweating, within 2 days, the lumps were gone from under my arm. Now, if you have access to a sauna, use it. They're at the YMCA and some exercise places that have them. Use the sauna. The benefits are tremendous. Fasting and cleansing are also very beneficial. And I do them all the time. I'm not very good at the fasting from all things, but I fast from something. During the day, I don't eat. I drink mostly. Nighttime is my problem when it comes to eating. So I can bear witness to the effectiveness of fasting, cleansing, and using the sauna suit. They work for me. Now, we have to do better because we are reversing the evil introduced and forced on us and on our children through generations of abuse. And the reverse of evil, the reverse of the word evil is live. EVIL, the reverse of it is LIVE. So we want to live, and we want to live a life in accordance to the gifts that God has given us, and we want to make sure that our children are free from these toxic ingredients that are in the items that we use, from our facial cleansers to our body sprays, to our body washes, to our deodorants. I mean, the chemicals are just unbelievable. Now, that is the end. I hope that you would join us for part 3 of Causing Cancer. And I think we're going to entitle that, Your House is a Health Risk, or Your House is a Health Issue. So I'm hoping that you would join us for the next commentary, and that will be the final one on this subject of cancer-causing agents, because I don't want to bring too much attention to myself in talking about this subject, because you are cutting into profit. And when you're cutting into a person's profit, you are literally just as good as dead, because you're making an issue where money is concerned, and money is the only thing that we're concerned about. Now, here's another headline that I found. From blinding headaches to bleeding scalp and permanent baldness, the hidden dangers of hair extensions revealed. That is in the Daily Mail. Now, we're putting these hair extensions in our baby's hair. From blinding headaches to bleeding scalps and permanent baldness, the hidden dangers of hair extensions are being revealed. So many subjects that I found pertaining to this particular thing, I couldn't get them all in. So I thank you for tuning into this, and I hope that you will share this information with others. Again, this is Brother Johnny Jamil Salib Zamir of the 19 Report at the 19 Network on Facebook, and I thank everybody for tuning in. And please join us on next week as we will continue the conclusion of this subject of causing cancer